Hello guys and welcome to today's video. Today we're gonna do something you requested a while back, and it's on the subject of music. You have asked a lot what my top 10 songs are, my top 10 albums, my top 10 bands and my music influences and stuff like that, and I'm gonna start doing that series now. The first video is gonna be about my music influences. What got me to listen to the music I listen to today, and also what made me want to play the music I play today. If you like this video, then thumb it up or comment that you liked it, and I'll keep throwing these top 10 songs or top 10 albums or top 10 artists. So, there's no reason to wait, let's just dive into it. The first band that really influenced me a lot was Blink-182. Before that, I just listened to like kids music and stuff like that. That didn't really stick with me in the long run. But Blink-182 was the first band that really put a mark. I still listen to them. I go back in my music archive and listen to stuff that brings up this nostalgic feeling, and I really like that type of skate punk. As I said in an earlier video, we had a cover band that played mostly Blink songs and a few own made songs that were not great at all, but they were like spin-offs of Blink songs. We wanted to be Blink. So that shows that it really influenced the way I wanted to do music at that time. So Blink, a big influence. I love all their early stuff. I love everything they did up until they broke up the band. I think all that is great. Another punk, rock or skate punk, whatever you want to call it, band that influenced me a lot at that time was Offspring. I listened to Americana and Conspiracy of One a ridiculous amount of times, and I still do sometimes go back and listen to those albums because those two are fucking awesome. As a whole, those albums are really good. A little later, or approximately at the same time, I think, I started listening to System of a Down, and I would call it a little bit heavier kind of music. They have their own genre almost. They play very special music, but I think they're really talented musicians, and they do very interesting musical choices. It's very chaotic and it has a powerful message. Kind of along the same lines here, I started listening to Iron Maiden, and I love Iron Maiden. It was my first like big idol. I looked up a lot to Bruce Dickinson. I think they're really talented as songwriters and musicians, of course. I think I would say this is one of the bands that got me into a little bit heavier music, because this is not just rock. I think the term to describe the music is new wave of British heavy metal. Yeah, new wave of British heavy metal. So yeah, I think they have a lot of powerful and really nice songs. A lot of hits, of course. And also, I always look up to the vocalist Bruce Dickinson, because he seems to be such an amazing dude, like outside the music as well. He's a pilot, he fences and stuff like that, and it seems like he's a really like driven man that has a lot of talent in a lot of different areas. After this, I went on to listening to music that were a little bit hardcore, a little bit metal, like bands like Avenged Sevenfold and Atreyu, especially Avenged Sevenfold. Their records Sounding the Seventh Trumpet and Waking the Fallen was two of the best records of that time. I think both are really good. This was also one of the first bands that had screams that I started listening to. They also mixed in breakdowns in their music, which was pretty much the first time I've heard a breakdown, so that was really big for me. So at this time I listened to a lot of screamo music and stuff like that, and that influenced me a lot. Time went on and I started listening to even more heavy music. Next on the list was Whitechapel, and that's kind of the first band that was more like extreme that I was into. When they were kind of a new band, they released the record Somatic Defilement. This is one of my absolute favorite records of all time. It's such a good record, and it's still to this day my favorite record from Whitechapel. I don't really like the stuff they do today, but looking back, that's absolutely the best record they ever did in my eyes and ears. Phil Boosman, who is the vocalist of Whitechapel, is another one of my absolute idols. I looked up to him a lot. He's a really talented vocalist for metal. I still think he's a really good vocalist, but I don't really listen to the music they do today. Other bands I listened to at the same time pretty much was Despised. I listened to Carnifex. As time went on, not far from this, I started listening to other metal bands as well. I listened a lot to As Blood Runs Black. They had a record called Allegiance, which was very, very good. I think that the type of guitar play they had and the type of drum play they had paved the way for a kind of a new sort of metalcore-ish stuff. The only bad thing about this is that they took like 10 years or more to release a new record after this. I don't know why. They had some internal band struggle or whatever. I don't really think they do as good music today, but it might have a lot to do with nostalgia as well. They've done a couple of good records. After this we have Job for a Cowboy. I listened a lot to their record called Doom, and this was the first band that I ever heard pig squeal. At that time I really thought that breakdowns and pig squeals were really cool. Especially pig squeals, because I don't know, it's just cool. It was, at least. It's not like I listen to a lot of it anymore, but at the time I thought it was really cool. Other bands that did the same thing that I also listened to was Annotations of an Autopsy, for example, and also Postmortem Promises. Two bands that are really cool too. Along this time I also listened a lot to a band called Winds of Plague. So all of these bands together was on my rotation for a long time, listening to all their new records and stuff like that. Of course there's more bands than what I'm naming now, but this is the most iconic ones that put the most mark of my musical career. So moving on to another style, I found a band called Have Heart, which was the first hardcore band that I really got into. Have Heart definitely has one of the most talented lyricists I've ever seen and read. They write songs with a very powerful message, but unfortunately they're not playing anymore. I've been to a couple of concerts when they played in Sweden, and I have to say that I've never seen so much crowd participation in sing-alongs and stuff like that as when they played. It's a really, really cool concert to be at, and if you haven't seen it or experienced it, maybe it's something cool that you can check out on YouTube, because I really think it's cool. Moving on, another band that I also started listening to shortly after Whitechapel, or at the same time I think, but this is a little bit different kind of music, is Black Dahlia Murder. You can probably guess that they influenced me a lot since I've been talking about them so much before. It's my absolute favorite band of all time. They're really talented musicians, they write really good songs, they're very consistent, they always deliver good material. And I would say this is the band that influenced me the most of all. I don't think that any of their records are bad, I think they're very different, but I like all of them. Also, the vocalist Trevor influenced my way of singing a lot. The way he does high-pitched screams and growls, that really made me want to be able to sing like he does, because I like that style a lot. I really wish that I'm able to share the stage with that band one day. That would be a dream come true pretty much. We've been trying to get that happen for so long, and we've been very close, but there's been a few small things that's come in the way, and unfortunately it hasn't happened yet, but I hope during my career that I can do that. So with all that said, we're at the present day, and what influenced me today. What I'm listening to most right now that is new and that influenced me a lot is Infant Annihilator. Their newest record is called Illusion Grandival Galeriarch, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure, it's a hard name. But that record has very long songs and there's a lot of material on it, and I think all of it is really, really cool. And it feels like they saw it in a new way compared to the other slam genre. So I really like that record, and that influenced me a lot, and I listen to it a lot today. Also, their vocalist, I don't know his name, but their new vocalist is very, very talented and very dynamic. So that's also where I'm drawing a lot of my influences today, and try to experiment the same way that guy does. I think it's really cool what he does, and I really look up to that guy. So that wraps it all up, guys. That's my music influences. I might have forgotten something, but whatever. Of course, this was the bands that influenced me the most. I've listened to a lot of other bands during my years, of course. If you guys have heard any of these bands or have not heard these bands and are listening to them now just because I said so, then comment below and say what you think about it. I hope you liked this video and I hope you had a fucking sunny day.